Hello and welcome to this presentation of AmeriSciences. My name is Carlos Montesinos and I'm the Director of Product Development and Quality Assurance for AmeriSciences. For the next few minutes I want to share with you some of the important components that make the difference in AmeriSciences with respect to the rest of the dietary supplement industry. I'll begin by telling you about that industry as a whole and just the concept of supplementation in general. One of the oldest questions that we are faced with is, when it comes to a healthy diet, if I engage in the consumption of a balanced diet, is there indeed a need for dietary supplementation? And conventional wisdom historically has told us that the answer is no, that you can get all the nutrients that you want from a balanced diet. However, more recently we have academic elements of great prestige, not just fringe elements, but mainstream academic elements such as the Harvard School of Public Health and many other institutions such as the American Heart Association actively endorsing the use of dietary supplements, in part to make up for the deficiencies that we find in today's so-called balanced diet. But more importantly, because simply the intake of several vitamins above the minimum daily requirements have been shown to effectively reduce the risk of developing degenerative conditions such as heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, and of course they can also play a significant role in risk factors such as overweight and obesity. This is also a reality when it comes to the economics of healthcare. So we are not only seeing improvements in quality of life, but also in the overall economics of healthcare, which as we all know are getting very unreasonable, the expenses that we as a society have with respect to medical care. So for example, this one study conducted by the Lewin Group and published in the year 2005 showed that the consumption of only two supplements, two dietary ingredients, namely omega-3 fatty acids and lutein with zeaxanthin, can save a combined $5.6 billion of Medicare costs if these two ingredients were consumed by elderly populations over a 5-year period. Subsequent studies have also revealed that consumption of other dietary ingredients, or those found in dietary supplements, such as calcium and vitamin D, can play also a major role. For example, saving hospitalizations related to fractures by 776,000 over a 5-year period, resulting in a savings of $16 billion. So again, these are very important factors that play a role in the justification of the dietary supplement concept in general. So the question is not whether dietary supplementation is important. The question is, amongst all the players in the industry, why is it that one should engage in the consumption of AmeriSciences supplements? And the answer to that is quite simple, and I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes telling you about that very concept. Our foundation is built on two pillars, the product philosophy pillars that we call quality advantage as well as scientific advantage. And while they might sound similar, they are not, and you can't have one without the other. The concept of our product quality advantage is centered on the idea, or the reality rather, that the industry of dietary supplements in the United States relies on food-based standards or food-based regulations. AmeriSciences, since its founding, believed that this was not enough, that these products are not just foods, but they also play a significant role in impacting the physiology and impacting health. So they should be really treated, at least from a manufacturing perspective, the way that pharmaceutical products are. And so we went ahead and self-imposed the pharmaceutical standards on the manufacture and production and testing of all of our products. One of the most important embodiments of that concept is dissolution, which, as you may or may not be aware of, is a very important precursor to bioavailability. It is the key rate-limiting factor that potentiates or impedes bioavailability. And whereas pharmaceutical products are required to undergo this dissolution test, dietary supplements are not required to do so. In fact, the industry average in published studies has been shown to be below 50% versus label claims. That is far below what the pharmaceutical standard is, which is 75%. AmeriSciences not only meets this pharmaceutical standard, again imposed by the United States Pharmacopoeia, or USP, but exceeds it, with all of our tablets having a minimum dissolution requirement of 95% of the labeled amount. This virtually guarantees that that virtually all of the product that is claimed on the label actually makes it into your body. Now, with respect to the scientific advantage, or the concept of scientific validity, this is also a very important pillar for us. And so we ensure that all of our products not only meet the manufacturing criteria, but also the scientific criteria that validates the formulation as a whole in a clinical setting. And so not only do we make sure that the products meet their label claim and are bioavailable, but that we also employ the right amounts of these compounds, compounds that have had clinical evidence, research behind them, and also that the right form of the ingredient is used. So for example, not all forms of zinc are equally bioavailable or equally as effective. Inorganic forms of zinc, such as zinc oxide and zinc sulfate, may not be as effective or as bioavailable as, say, a zinc monomethionine or a zinc amino acid chelate. So we utilize and go through the scientific evidence and published data to make sure that all of our formulations stand out to the scrutiny of science. We rely on an independent scientific advisory board that advises the company on all matters related to science. And of course, we have engaged in relationships over the years with research institutions, academic institutions, and of course, our scientific partnership with NASA is at the core of this concept of a scientific advantage. So our relationship with NASA was officialized in the year 2005 via a Space Act Agreement, which was enacted in that year, and it called for the formulation, development, research, testing, and ultimately the supply of dietary supplements to act as countermeasures to help supplement the diet of astronauts and help them in their missions of the exploratory phase that we're now engaged in, which is going back to the moon and eventually to Mars, in an effort to provide them with a standardized, ideal diet, but also to help them fight the effects of space travel, such as microgravity and, most importantly, radiation exposure. Our products have been flown on both shuttle missions as well as the International Space Station. And over the years, we have obtained a lot of achievements with respect to this relationship between AmeriSciences and NASA. We have had the pleasure of being selected by NASA, engaging in research initiatives alongside the University of Pittsburgh and other institutions that NASA has partnered up with. And we have tested the products both in an in vitro as well as an in vivo setting. And as I mentioned a minute ago, our products have also been flown in space. Most recently, in the year 2011, one groundbreaking study was published in the journal Radiation Research, demonstrating the positive effects of our jointly developed formulations in the effects of lethal doses of radiation and increasing or extending the life of subjects that have been exposed to lethal doses of radiation. So I think that clearly gives you some food for thoughts and the realization that AmeriSciences engages in not just the highest quality of dietary supplements, but also those that are effective and have clinical validity. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.